Oh, something a little less controversial. The Red Sox right now, they're actually on fire. What are they, 9-3 over their last 12 games? And Lucy, I'm going to be a little Debbie Downer here because it's still the Red Sox. They're still, 19-22? They still don't have a winning record. So sell me on the Red Sox. Why should we still care about the Red Sox?
Because they have the best record in baseball since Alex Cora shaved his beard, and it's only up from here. So there's no stopping them now. So I'm not going to say they're back yet, but they are showing that they are better than we thought they were. So there's kind of inklings that this summer may not be a complete lost cause. So there's some excitement there, but you see sparks of Trevor Story finally showing up and waking up, and welcome to Boston, Trevor Story, only hitting grand slams and home runs. Fantastic. I was in attendance for his grand slam on Friday. Absolutely beautiful sight. Loved it. So you see things like that, and Evaldi is actually coming together and striking out 11 batters each time now. And so I see a lot of hope for this Red Sox team that I did not before since Alex Cora shaved his beard. That's
We're talking with Lucy Burdge, who is not a fan of paper straws, but she is host of Back to the Futures each Sunday night on BetQL. So, Lucy, you have your Red Sox taking on Dylan Cease and the White Sox tonight, and the Sox are dogs. You laying it? Are you grabbing the plus money with Boston?
Of course I am. Of course. And Pavetta over 5.5 strikeouts. Plus money. I always take the Red Sox money line when it's plus money. For sure. Even just sprinkle a little bit on that. Because they are, it's just driving me nuts because they are showing that this is a good team when they get it together, when things go right for them. But when they go wrong, they go horribly wrong. And that's the problem. So as long as nothing goes horribly wrong, and this offense carried by Rafael Devers can show up and actually score some runs and not leave runners on base, which is a huge problem for them, then they can win games. So plus money, absolutely. I hammer that.
It's a tough matchup against Dylan Cease, who's been striking out the house in just about all of his starts. But I will say, Nick Pivetta coming off a complete game, and he's been a curve breaker. He's been really good against some of these really good lineups. Complete game against the Astros, faced the White Sox in one of his previous starts, and did really well in that one. But the problem is, do you have faith in the Red Sox bullpen here?
See, that's the tough one. You see, so after the Steve Aoki first pitch, you saw Matt Barnes was the one who gave him the advice for that. This tweet absolutely killed me. That this explains a lot tweet. Like, of course, Matt Barnes gave him this advice. That's why he threw that pitch like way over. Yes, this bullpen is not trustworthy at all, but it's scary. That's what scares me. But yeah, Pavetta's complete game turned things around. That was the spark this team needed. That's what this fan base needed, to see that this team has these sparks of greatness that they can string together and actually put together a good season, maybe in playoff contention, which was in doubt before. But now you start thinking maybe. You don't want to get ahead of yourself, but the playoffs, sure. This team can win games. And yeah, the bullpen is an issue, but if they can get it together, then yeah, this team is unstoppable.
We're talking with Lucy Burdge. Find her on Twitter at Lucille Burdge. She is host of Back to the Futures each Sunday night on BetQL. Okay, Lucy. So Chelsa and I were both on the Celtics before they entered this Eastern Conference Finals matchup against the Heat. I know you're going to be on Boston, so that's not a question. My question is, why do you think the Celtics eventually prevail and make the NBA Finals?
Jason Tatum is back. Jason Tatum outscored every Heat starting, it's incredible. So I think that the concern here is the pattern. So they have a pattern of winning, losing. This series has been absolutely insane. So that's why I think the Celtics will win, is because now they're like, okay, we're now in the part of this where we win now. We can defeat the Heat. We have shown that we're not lost in this series, which we kind of thought we were. Some of those games, you're like, okay, this team is maybe not so great. But then now they're like, okay, they're falling apart. They were falling apart at the seams.
Yes.
It was just depressing to watch this. You're like, this series is over. Maybe this team is not what we thought. Maybe they're taking the Heat too lightly. That's what I was afraid of. But now they're showing up and they're not taking them lightly. So now there's, again, no stopping them. The Celtics and Red Sox have been mirroring each other throughout this. So now they're both on a path to greatness, and there's no stopping either of these teams now. And let's go. The Celtics are just going to breeze their way to a championship win, I think. but no, not breeze their way. But I think Jason Tatum last night really, again, sparked up the fan base, the team, everything. And they're like, okay, we can beat Jimmy Butler. We can beat the Heat. This is now our series to lose.
So looking ahead in the future, if this series really is a breeze and you think the Celtics go on to the NBA Finals, do you think the Celtics can take down the Golden State Warriors?
See, this would be a tough test, but they beat Giannis. Like, I keep thinking that, and they probably are thinking that too. If we beat Giannis, Steph Curry will be a challenge, but we've done tougher tasks before. We just beat two teams, if they beat the Heat in this series, that people doubted we could beat. And the Warriors are another team that, I mean, many, including myself, would doubt that they could finish off, but they've done it before. They've shocked the world before. We can do it again against the Warriors and Steph Curry and that team, which, I mean, Steph Curry looks unbeatable. So that would be a tough task. But this, I think Jason Tatum, Al Horford, this Celtics team, I think they can do it.
Okay. So Lucy, we have to talk about Tom Brady, who is going to be an executive producer for a new Netflix show called The Greatest Roasts of All Time. And we're not talking about pot roasts. This is not a cooking show. This is Tom Brady getting roasted. He's going to be the first roastee, and this series will tape after this upcoming season. How do you roast the executive producer, Tom Brady?
This is ridiculous to me because he is the executive producer of the show that is roasting him. This is straight out of an Office episode where Michael Scott put on a roast for himself and had everybody roast him. And then as soon as people started going too far, he stopped the whole thing. So this is not going to go too far. This is not going to have the jokes that you would tune in for. It is going to be so lame because it's going to be, oh, your dad jokes. Oh, you're old. Because he's the executive producer. So they're not going to say anything about Trump and the MAGA hat. They're not going to say anything about a Brady brand logo is horrible. This is what I would roast him for. The Brady brand logo is trash, garbage. It is so boring. That's what I would go after him for. But of course, nobody's going to do that because he, again, is the executive producer. This is really stupid because he should not be the executive producer of a show that is roasting himself because it's going to be so boring. This is going to be the worst roast of all time. And I wish... Though I wish it was a pot roast show where he and Guy Fieri make pot roast. That would be the best. If it was Tom Brady, Guy Fieri making pot roast, greatest roast of all time. That's what I would watch.
I like how you say Guy Fieri. You say it like the like how you're supposed to pronounce it, I assume.
Guy Fieri. Oh, he is my god. He is my legend, Guy Fieri. I bow to the altar of Guy Fieri.
You're going to hear things. You're going to hear so many bad jokes. It's like, hey, originally I didn't think I was invited to this roast and I felt really deflated. Oh, hey.
Exactly.
It's going to be so awful. Oh,
yeah.
God.
And also, how many jobs does Tom Brady need?
This is, what are you doing, Tom? Like, this is why I would not take the Buccaneers Super Bowl odds because he's got so many things going on that how is he going to be hyper-focused during the season? Like, he's got the Brady brand, he's got TB12, he's got this roast thing, he's got 80 for Brady movie in production right now, which he is on set for. And then he's got his broadcasting career, which is all set up for him for when he retires. So he said he didn't want to make the commitment on the field and spend more time with his family and blah, blah, but when is he going to see his family? He's got too many things going on for him to, it's almost like he did retire because he's announcing so many projects. This is what you do when you retire. Like, oh, I've got this lined up and this lined up, but he's still got his playing career going on. So Tom, I would tell Tom to relax a little bit and focus on football in the upcoming season and maybe not be so concerned with being in the news all the time and having these outrageously priced Brady brand products on the market right now, and your TB12 line that is already outrageously priced, and your cookbook with rainforest tree covers. Maybe just relax, Tom, and focus on football right now.
Or his family. I think that should be number one on the roast.
He doesn't want to go home.
He was home. Family.
He was home for a month. He was like, no thanks. It's time to whip up like 8 or 9 different projects.
I'm convinced something happened in that month where he was like, wow, I cannot be here for a lot more than 2 days in a row. This is insane. He's just suddenly like, okay, I've got 10 things going on. After a week with Giselle, he's like, okay, maybe they're remodeling their house or something. And he's like, I got to stay out of here. I got to be somewhere else right now. Because what happened? Yeah. I mean, come on. He's like, okay, I'm never going home again. I've got a million things going on. So we're going to see a lot of Tom Brady, I think, for better or worse.
All right. Well, we got to wrap it up. She is Lucy Burdge. She is host of Back to the Futures each and every Sunday night right here on BetQL. Also a BetQL writer. Find her on Twitter at Lucille Burdge. Lucy, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you very much. Paper straws forever.